For any of you who are joining us, welcome to the League of Legends UK Custom Games Night. My name is Peter Westcott-Arnold. I'm joined tonight by Irish Pete Johnstone. We're in Game 2 of the Custom Game Night. So these players have played each other previously, and the last game going in favour of the blue team. Teams, I believe, have been a little bit mixed up. I'm not... Yes, the Gankus is now on the opposite team, so hopefully we're going to end up with an even closer match than last time, which in itself was very, very close for a very long time, very back and forth between those two teams. So we see the bans coming down. Thresh the first and Riven the second. Thresh did do some serious work in that previous game, but I felt a little bit bad for the Thresh player, because there's only, there's a lot of things you can do, but...
Yeah, it's fair to say there was an effective use of Thresh in the last game, and it wasn't down to him that they lost, but always a very powerful champion in terms of the both the engage with the hook, but also the gap closing for other champions with the lantern. So a solid all-round ban there. We see Echo come in again, definitely targeted. We can expect to see Runeglaive Ezreal bans across the custom nights for some time to come until they figure something out about his queue. And Riven is always, always a worthwhile ban with this bunch of characters we have in this game. So it should be interesting. Azir's in, and finally the Heimerdinger. I was wondering if it was going to slip through. I was kind of hoping to get to see it tonight, but we may just see Dibs go for the Morgana instead. His second favorite pick next to Heimerdinger. Yes. So do you think that they're going to prioritize an ADC over on blue like they did in the last game? I don't feel like picking that Jinx first gave him any advantage in the champion select. If anything, it allowed um, due to counterpick on the other side. And it almost paid out, and certainly in a couple of situations, the Vayne had the advantage over the Jinx just because of extenuating circumstances, wasn't able to convert it into a huge kill directly on her, I guess, but did pick up a lot of kills across the map.
Yes, I mean, I completely agree with you. Picking up the carry, first of all, I mean, Sivir, having recently had her on the hunt nerfed, uh, I mean, it feels. I mean, obviously, you can say this better than I can, but it feels to me like Sivir is very strong against certain enemy champions who've got potentially slow moving skill shots and these stuff that's easy to catch in your spell shot. And when you pick her first, kind of inviting certain other champions which aren't going to be really brought down by her spell shot. I don't know.
Sivir's really strong, and she's not strong in the sense that they call her the scuttle crab because she brings vision and speed to her team. So she's like the vision shrine right in the river. So she has that ult which allows him to engage or disengage at a whim. She has a spell shield which will compensate for maybe poor positioning in fights or even intercept one for an ally if used well. So a very sturdy pick. She doesn't scale and become a hyper carry like a Jinx or a Vayne, so that's how she's not really strong. But she has a very strong early and mid game pressure because she's such wave pushing power with the ricochet, with the boomerang. She's able to push waves under turret and get a lot of CS and reach her mid game power spike pretty reliably. And dibs on the jungle poppy, absolutely awesome. This is going to be a fun game to watch because it is, a somewhat obnoxious champion. I don't like to overuse the word, but Poppy is obnoxious, but also fun to watch. We've seen it even in LCS in the 2014 playoffs, right? So, and on the other side, we've got the Fizz and the Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix in the jungle, still a fan favorite amongst a lot of Kha'Zix mains, but in terms of flavor of the month, he fell way off. And even in is he strong in this meta? Yes, if he gets ahead, absolutely. No, 100% if he gets behind, he's as useless as nipples on a man, as some people like to say.
Well, I mean, what we've seen from Red Team so far as picking up two assassins. I mean, they've grabbed Bard now, but what else can they use to kind of really push forward that kind of play style?
They need some wave clear, or they're in big trouble because you're going to have a Severe and an Ari pushing waves into your turrets constantly, and unless on the red side you're able to um, clear out those waves,
Wait, what?
yeah, a Shaco coming through potentially in the top lane for Ju, uh, Aurelia again on blue side, although Gangakus is now on the opposite side, so maybe blue team are going to return the favor, and gank Gangakus with the Aurelia.
I have to assume it's the case. I mean, well, if we do see this Shaco go up into the top lane, I mean, I have to admit, I don't know Shaco super well. If he is intending to be a top laner, which is obviously still up for debate here. If he does go on the top lane, what would he be bringing to the team?
Um, I just wonder when Yasuo and Ari and Severe and Blitzcrank, please Blitzcrank. I love watching them. I hate playing against them. When blue team decide to group us a group and run down mid lane and start taking turrets by pushing the waves in, what are red team going to do to stop it? Is Shaco or Bard going to stand in their way? Is Fizz going to playful trickster into a wave and potentially catch, either a taunt from Ari, the charm, or catch a blitz hook? Is Shaco going to run up and try and assassinate someone from the side and then quickly clone while red team pop vision and again pull him into this horrible composition? And a short range Vayne with very little wave clear. I'm very dubious about this red composition. They do have, like, of course, mega assassination potential. They're totally disgusting to lane against, but when it comes to fighting for objectives, if blue don't let you split push, then you've no way to defend. And how are you going to split push even because you'll never be able to have the rest of your waves in a position for you to be that far extended. Whereas on the flip side,
Well, what would you like to see red team pick up AD carry wise?
I think they'd have to go for. Well, it doesn't matter now. They've gone for the Vayne. Okay, so that's what they've got. They've got Vayne Bard in the bot lane, which is a lot of scaling going on, versus Severe and a Blitz. So, you probably won't see a lane swap coming in a custom game, but this is going to be a pretty horrible lane for Chris, I imagine, because Ju's got the Ignite and the Teleport, so it will be the Vayne on Chris this time. Ju going top lane instead of ADC as he was last game. We got Fizz in the mid and Bard with the Ignite down bot on the flip side. Uh, Blitz taking the exhaust to probably deal with this Aurelia, Fizz, and Vayne. So he's going to get a lot of use out of that spell. I like Blue's composition. They've got some wave clear. Blitz and Poppy both have some displacement to help Yasuo proc his last wins. Although Blitz isn't great because if he grabs a guy, he pulls one guy out of a team, which means the ult only hits one person. If Poppy was able to grab somebody and push them into the rest of red team and get that mass displacement, then you'd really see the Yasuo goes down. Lane wise, I'm interested to see Gankakus and Exiled in the mid lane, Yasuo versus Fizz. It's always a fun game to watch, a lot of mobility. Um, keep an eye on this Challenger Bard in the bot lane too. So, if he's able to dumpster all over Alpheus, who did show some positional errors in the last game, and if he's able to get the Vayne ahead, oh god, if Shaco shows up and gets a double kill in bot lane, with a TP or or Kazik gets a double kill, then it's going to be a very scary comp. So blue have to kind of batten down the hatches, play safe for a little while,
Well,
make sure they don't get behind.
well, I mean, I'm certainly very interested to see how Ju does on the Shaco. Uh, I mean, against Yasuo, I don't know. Is the Windwall going to cut a significant amount of Ju's damage?
It's all about positioning, and Yasuo is extremely mobile, so and Ju, beside, I think there's one teleport in the kit. I'm not a Shaco player, guys. I've read the page, but he doesn't have a lot of mobility in it, and gap close. Potentially, when he's invisible, he does. But if Yasuo keeps moving, he'll just be able to kite back Ju. If he doesn't have to take the fight unless he wants it, essentially.
Well, according to Twitch chat, Dibs apparently has had his Poppy impugned, perhaps suggesting not going to stand any kind of chance against Gumball in the jungle. If you see these two titans of the rift, these two monoliths clash, do you favour?
Whew, I think Poppy scales probably as well, if not better, than most of the champions on the Rift. Um, that's a bold statement, but she's damn scary late game. And the the Gumball Sora on the Kazakhs, if he's able to farm well, it's tough because he doesn't farm very well. If he's able to get some ganks, which is kind of tough because he took a lot of nerfs in his kit too. But if he's able to do all of those things and the planet's line and he gets ahead, and he'll be really strong. But if he doesn't do any of those things, then Poppy just has to keep farming, taking ganks and even CS where she can. And yeah, she'll just become a terror. And like in the late game fights, when Chris shows up and says, "All right, I want to kill you," Dibs on the Poppy is going to say, "No way!" Smash him into a wall, hit him with a hammer, and like two shot him. We've all seen it happen. Similarly, Jew, Gankakus, and even Gumball Blazer Gumball is pretty squishy depending on how he builds. If he goes warrior and a damage item, he will be squishy. If he goes Cinderhulk, no, but why would you do that on a Kha'Zix? So you've got to assume he's going warrior and will be quite squishy for a while. And all of that
Well,
is,
that's concerning for me at least. That seems the concerning thing about red teams setup is again. I think we're going to see a Vayne who's going to be ruthlessly pursued down by members of the opposing team because it's only really Jarj who's in any kind of position to do anything about it unless red team commit all of their assassins into protecting an AD carry, which seems like a really bizarre idea.
I mean, nobody wants to dive into that red team at the same time, but if Blue are able to find picks, then yeah, as you said, they could chase you down for days with the dashes on the Ahri, the spirit rushes, and Blitz's temporary speed boost, and sure they've all got a lot of inherent mobility, so we could see those roaming death squads as we did the last time. But this looks like it's going to be a great fight. It looks like it's going to be very bloody, and we have our doubts about Red Team, but if they're able to get an advantage, like we said, they'll be terrifying. So they do have the potential to do a lot of damage here, and I'm not writing them off just yet. Just saying, looking at the compositions on paper, at the moment I give it to Blue if the game goes beyond 35 minutes.
Oh yeah, well I mean, absolutely. On paper, Blue seems like the team that that makes the most sense, at least in my mind. That's why, of course, I'm entirely behind the red team.
Well, you do like your underdogs, Pete. We know that about you.
Well, I mean, what's not to like about Juice Royal Shaco off the top lane? I don't know. To me, if I'm going to make bold predictions here, I'm going to say Red Team are going to defy expectations. They're going to get these assassins ahead every lane, blood fountains everywhere, and Blitzcrank will explode. Real life.
Yeah, I was going to say that, like, all of this stuff happens and the teams square up and they flank and they get their positions and everything's perfect. And then Blitz pulls your carry. He pulls your Vayne into the middle of blue team and they swallow him whole. They don't even need Tam Kench to do it. And then what do red team do? So you've always got to factor in this bloody Blitzcrank there to disrupt the lines and change the landscape of the battlefield to Blue's advantage. So it just comes down to whether X-Fast is going to make the hooks or not, doesn't it? Because it's a very sad blitz when he misses his hooks.
That's true. At least in Ganku's case, he's got a pretty good way of avoiding him. But that's not really the case for the rest of the team. I mean, Shaco kind of, Bard, not really. Ziggs, I'm not sure if his jump actually counts as getting him out of the way if it's similar to, say, Tristana's jump, but we'll probably find out during the course of the game. As we do get onto the Rift proper, what kind of difference does it make when as a pause comes out very quickly, when you've got the, I mean, sorry, with Bard, given that he's got his binding and potentially quite good crowd control, at what point do you really, if ever, do you have kind of kill pressure off a Bard?
I I, hmm, I don't know without intervention if Bard and Vayne are going to be able to get kill pressure on a Severe and a Blitzcrank. It it's difficult to say, because Blitz's hook is a double-edged sword. Sure, he can pull someone in and do damage to them and knock them up and whatnot, but then they're beside you, and if he's pulling uh, people closer to this Severe, it could be very uncomfortable for her. The pause is due to Chris disconnecting, and he's going to be back in very shortly, so we're going to go live without too much of a delay.
Well, something that makes me a little bit kind of confused with the red team's pickup of Bard is that it seems like a pretty obvious choice for the diplomatic immunity, sorry, to be placed onto. So I don't know. Maybe is red team maybe relying on Bard being able to get down his crowd control onto Poppy, and that's the whole plan. Like Content is stunned into silence. But I'm definitely sure that he agrees with everything I say because
I think
there he is again.
If Poppy engages into the entire team with diplomatic immunity and Bard is able to get his ultimate down, it could be disruptive. It's hard to tell. The Bard CC is so unpredictable. You don't really know who it's going to play out for unless the Bard is really good. And again, I think the Yarg here should have a pretty good command of the champion, so we'll just have to see how the early laning goes to kind of decide whether he's going to be able to make the plays. But the kits have the potential. All of red are difficult guys to take on one-on-one, with the exception of Bard maybe. So Red definitely have a split push advantage if they're able to draw Blue across the map. But when Blue group up, they definitely have more fighting power, I think, than this Red team. A pretty standard
That
start.
makes a lot of sense.
Looks like they're both going for Krugs on Blue side. They're both going for the ADC start, which makes sense because you get a better leash from two characters than you would from one on the other side, and it just gets you on the jungle path a little bit faster. It looks like Exile is going to take these Raptors before he goes and back, picks up potentially. And we've seen, interesting on the Shaco, we've seen him come out on with a flask, and I'm not quite sure whether he's this guy. Yeah, there he is. So, looking at him, he's built APs, built no AP, so he's just going AD. So I'm just interested to see.
Oh, Jarge gets caught with a really early hook. There's no knock up there quite yet though, and Chris is getting a lot of damage down onto Alpheus.
Yeah, he sure is, and some Meep empowered auto attacks as well going on there. So, and Bard has the sustain, of course, to be able to do this and back off and heal up. So good pressure early from Red.
Well, I mean, at this point, yes, you make a really good point about the sustain. Though it's going to take a little bit of time before. Oh, Jarge gets caught again. Level 2 again, and not quite there. It's actually level 2 advantage in Jarge's favour.
Yeah, it's hard to tell who's winning these trades. I think. Oh, a little bit of handbags. He's just going to try and burn down that Poppy box or that Shaco box. But I think if the damage is going over onto the Severe on Alpheus and not on the Vayne on Chris, then it's going in their favour because Bard can always peel back and sustain through, but it's harder for Alpheus to do that. So as long as Vayne stays healthy relative to Severe, they have advantage.
Ooh, Gankus getting torn pretty hard, and that's aborted. Oh, Alfie's getting caught against the wall. Really nice use of the binding there in the bottom lane.
Yeah, really good trade in the mid lane for Pikachu, getting some good damage down onto Gankus, making him reconsider those dives. And we did see that potentially Gumblesaur was in position, but just decided to grab that Scuttle and go back and get his upgrade. So now that the junglers have their upgrades and they're out on the map, we may potentially see some lane intervention. Nice.
Oh, Chris gets caught. Nice use of the hook there. X-Fast not able to actually secure the kill though, despite a pretty promising start to that fight.
I think if Alpheus had prosecuted that, they could have put so much damage down on the Vayne, she had to leave. But they're happy to take the farm under the turret because they want to make sure they have that CS advantage as well. And Vayne has to walk a long way around.
Oh, Zhu making good use of the... never mind, Jarge, it's one get caught. And again, these hooks are landing consistently, but as you said, they're not necessarily landing on the person they want to. And Gank is taken very, very low by Ignite. As much as the same as Zhu, who's very, very low in the top lane. The sustain is helping out Jarge, but I have to feel like there's one really good gank away, and if Exile manages to avoid getting hit and slowed, but Zhu just a little too low really to take advantage of this gank from Grumblesaur. Gumblesaur?
Gumblesaur missing the void spikes.
Out. This fight still continues. Ignite comes down. Exile taken super low. He's going for the minion wave that hasn't taken aggro. And it's an abortive gank up in the top lane.
Yeah, he's sustaining off the minions with his Dorans and his pots. Yeah, it is aborted and the flash blown as well. So, and Zhu just getting out. Interesting, but yeah, a lot of resources blown by Red to try and take that, and in the end, the advantage.
Oh, Chris is going to be in trouble here. The hook comes out, grabs the Chris. Chris has nowhere to go, getting pushed back, and first blood going across the Dibs. I guess Dibs has silenced the critics.
Yeah, certainly coming in the Poppy in the right time, right place. But the MVP here is X-Fast, who is landing hook after bloody hook and managing to totally disrupt any potential farming and trading that Red wanted to have. Good timely positioning there from Dibs to show up. And the Vayne going down, right? Still got her flash, still had her heal, and potentially could have tumbled to the left or the right. You gotta juke those blitz hooks. You know it's coming. It's like a speeding freight train coming down the tracks at you. So, gotta do better to miss them on both sides because if they keep eating them, especially now with the CS advantage for Severe, it's going to be a horrible lane for them. And remember that Ignite was blown as well by the Ahri in the mid lane, while Fizz is still sitting on his. So I think Gankakus is the one ray of hope for them where they may have kill potential, because elsewhere Shaco has blown his Ignite as well. While the Yasuo is sitting on a TP that's almost up, so similar combat advantage is cleared, and now I think that blue own top and bottom lane, and red potentially own mid lane at the moment.
Well, I'm kind of confused about Ju's choices of items here. And going for a Tear of the Goddess early on, and here comes Shadow of the Waters. Pikachu getting taken so low! Oh my gosh, Ganking takes the kill, evens it up between these two teams, and that's so important for Red Team to get on the board. Oh, sorry, my co-caster is having a brief moment as Charles gets caught. Alpheus, again, the spell shield is blown, has to flash away. Chris is going to continue to pursue. And X-Fast pounded into the wall by that Condemn. May not be the best idea, though. X-Fast not punishing with a hook. As Gankius continues to enjoy some free time in the middle lane to feed his fishy face.
Ari in the mid lane, they're not respecting Fizz just getting his level 6 and still having his Ignite up, which gave him oodles of kill pressure. Eventually able to get her under the turret and Playful Trickster back out. Down the bot lane. Oh, here's a fight.
Well, Imexard did fall for that cheeky shack in the box there. Imexard getting taken super low, but again, well, there's no Ignite quite yet for Jude to try and get that last bit of damage in.
I can't help but feel if Jude had some proper items that he could have got that kill. Maybe he's taken maybe he's taken this tier to build into a Muramana, or just have enough sustain to keep in the lane, but yeah, he lost that kill there when he potentially could have had it. Now Yasuo's coming back on an Avarice Blade and Brawler's Gloves, so not an awful lot, but starting to get some crits now at least. But yeah, interesting that tier is going to make Shaco really weak and could potentially tempt Dibs to go up there for a gank in a little while, but bot lane is the focus right now. Ari's here, Dibs is here. They want to make sure that this Vayne gets shut down early and stays shut down. There's the exhaust.
Alright, there we go. The exhaust comes up. The charm does miss. Chris is the sacrificial lamb for this 4-on-2 in the bottom lane. We do see Gumblesaw coming out. Dibs underneath the tower. Nice using the magical journey. Yeah. And the stun comes out. Jarge is the one who's being diplomatized here. It's the only one who can really do anything. But no! Gumblesaw really nicely timed, gets the last bit of damage in.
Yeah, Dibs taking a turret shot when potentially didn't have to. Kind of greeted onto the kill. Knew he was dead and tried to trade. But taking that magical journey was greedy. I suppose there was a Kha'Zix at the other side, so neither prospect was very enticing. But it's a trap, folks, to follow Bard through Magical Journey, because he can Cosmic Bind you right to the wall you just came through. So it's pretty predictable stun from him there. And then his positioning kind of tempted Dibs into the turret, and that made all the difference. Even with immunity running, he still went down.
Yeah, but really nice series of plays there. I mean, that's always good with the thing with Poppy, even though she's a very strong character, that she has very... Oh, here we go! Shu getting blown up underneath the tower. Exile making good use of his dash to get away and not take too much damage either.
Yeah, happy to proxy farm then. Looking at the CS, even before that kill it was ahead, but now we see that this Yasuo Exiled is getting quite far ahead. He's like 25 CS, 27 CS ahead of this Shaco.
Oh, Pikachu is being aggressive onto further. Nice support from Jarge, but here comes Dibs trying to get on Gankers. Gankers, I don't even think saw Dibs coming. And we've got Bard trying to get away in the middle lane. Has a little help from his friends, but
do you know,
there's no real window opportunity.
Dibs took the Bard taxi, getting the dash and the push onto Bard, and then being close enough to get the empowered auto attack through onto...
Oh, X-Fast! Nice flash! The silence is there, the hook is there as well. Alpheus is pushed away, doesn't matter, gets the kill. That's the first kill of the game for Alpheus. Being denied so far with only assists.
X-Fast is playing out of his mind on this stretch, or on this blitz. He's doing like godlike plays to totally shut down this Chris. I don't think he would even need to. Chris's positioning hasn't been awesome, but with the perfect bullying tempo from the blitz, constantly CCing and knocking up, and even there saving his pull for the last. So when Chris thought he may be able to get out right on the turret, pulled him back into his inevitable death. And despite the condemn against the wall, Alpheus is able to kill him and get a lot of pressure on this turret here. So 5 kills to 2 in favor of Blue. Some really great plays coming from both sides, but overall Blue getting the advantage of it in the early game. And you can see that as well in the 2k gold advantage that they have for themselves. And just popping up the 3 when I said that.
Yeah, but that's always the way. You're doing some pretty nice work with the, trying to make the most of those Shack in the Boxes to keep I'm exiled. Keep making good use for them to counteract the sweeping blades, which are bringing exiled right up into Zhu's face, but then walking right into a Shack in the Box. Still, Zhu getting taken aggressed on underneath the turret, and exiled able to walk away. But no, Gumbalsaur comes in trying to secure the kill. The last bit of damage is there. I wasn't sure for a second if exiled will get the knock up and be able to get away, but
Yeah.
not the case this time.
Exile unfortunately had no enemy units to dash through to get away. So the flash there maybe burned in hubris, but still Gumblesaur able to clean up. But you gotta say, Jew is getting shut down in the top lane. He's 0-2-0. He's got a mishmash of items, probably a Morello right now, and that he's trying to build, but he's sitting on nothing. Meanwhile, this Yasuo, 31 CS up, 2 kills up. He's already got his static shiv, so he's got all that attack speed and crit and even movement. And now he's building potentially into a Blade of a Rune King with this Vamp Scepter. So Yasuo is getting out of control. Um, in the mid lane, I think Gankakus is doing a lot better. But is it going to be enough? Because this Bane is 0-3-0. Actually managing to stay on parity in terms of CS, but Alpheus just having an effect elsewhere on the map, as we can see here. And Gumblesaur should hesitate very much to engage onto this 70 CS.
Oh, here we go. Well, X-Force is getting aggressed on. The blue team having to flash across the wall to save him. Gumbalsaur being traded. No! Nice use of the invincibility. Alpheus taken super, super low. Gankakus managing to stay alive, but not quite long enough.
Yeah.
Still, he's bought a bit of time for Gumbalsaur to get away.
The Ignite ticking through the playful Trickster, so he continued to die, and just as he came out, he fell dead. The poor little fish doesn't react well to fire. Gumblesaur was saved by a really prolific Bard ult from the Yarg, but overall, I'm going to say a 2 for 2, maybe a 2 for 1. I'm sorry, I didn't catch it, folks, but advantage going to blue side, able to put down more pressure. Here's Exile, though, out of
Oh,
position.
I am Exiled, taking very low. Nice use of the knockups. Exiled is taken so low, and Ignite does exchange kills between the two.
Yeah. So, one of the 3 Ignites on blue team does eventually burn through him and even up kills a little bit. Oh, very nice here from
Oh,
Yarg.
Dibs getting caught. Such a tragic thing for the red team. The damage isn't there to follow it up.
Yeah, I mean, and Yarg's got to be careful too, because Dibs doesn't do no damage. But if he just runs and takes sustained damage like this, he will die. Nice minion taxi. Gets out of there.
Yes, the minion taxi taken to great wealth.
Yeah, coined by Crepo, I believe, but maybe not, but still a great phrase. And yeah, nice use of his mobility there to get away from the Bard, who had kill potential, I think he realized, on him. But then backup was arriving as well, so.
Yes, I think it was surprisingly close. I mean, those the meeps actually hit pretty darn hard.
They do, and they scale pretty hard too. So there is a hard cap eventually, but it's only on I think it's on the CC and the frequency or the damage, but the frequency of them increases and they keep scaling almost infinitely, well, as long as the game will go anyway. And Vayne's scaling really well too, so that bot lane combo, well, she would be if she wasn't dying all the time. She's like on parity on CS, but she's, Severe has a kill and 2 assists, and just looking at the gold really quickly on them, you can already see that Severe's up about 700 gold, which is, a component at this stage.
Right, Gumblesaur is being denied, manages to take the ward, but Dibs is here with smiles and pleasant dreams, punching out some minions in the middle lane and keeping the pressure up. Gold very much in favor of the blue team right now.
Yeah, I think blue maybe want to take this mid turret, get lane pressure, and then rotate on the Drake. Oh, nice. There's the hook.
Oh, nice! Very, very nice, but it's so hard to keep hold of Gankakus. Nice use of Tempered Fate there. Does not manage to get the stun though. Charge is getting absolutely hammered. The heal just enough to keep him alive. But no, here comes the Dibs!
There's the flash!
Dibs appears. Isn't quite sure which tower. There we go. Dibs does finally commit. But Gankakus taken super, super low. Oh, and it's a terrible, terrible day for the red team. Though Gumblesaur does manage to cheekily take the kill, even while it's exchanged over behind several turrets.
Yeah, Alpheus taking turret aggro there, which wasn't ideal, obviously. But Dibs coming in behind and hesitating to use his damage spells on the Bard, who was almost dead, and his utility was down. So instead decided to use it on Gankakus, which is probably a good choice. But it did mean that Bard was able to flash away, so he ultimately came back and died anyway. So a great trade for blue. Meanwhile, Exile is just pushing in Jew into this inner turret, and there's nothing he can do about it. Like, he's going to have to back in a second, and then that turret is dead. Down the bot lane, finally getting some free farm over onto Chris, and actually managing to overtake Severe a little bit in the CS, but of course down on the global gold from the kills and assists. So looking at the gold, like almost 6k advantage or 5k advantage now. Sorry for uh, blue team. They've also got 2 turrets on the board, and I'm surprised no Drake yet, but definitely blue are a lot stronger now, and it's hard for them to get caught out, I would say. But then again, uh,
Well, caught out is the word for it. Up in the top lane, I was literally just about to say that I'm surprised that Exiled hasn't received more attention. But he's going to be able to get away. Oh no, Alpheus doesn't quite walk out of the Chum the Waters. No, Gangus
Yeah.
almost gives up the kill there with a slightly awkward pogo. Exile coming in to try and secure a kill themselves. But a small victory for the red team, desperately in need of one, especially as Jarj gets fully aggressed onto no. Still Tempest just missing, but Exile manages to take the kill anyway.
okay, so here's what happened. Exiled was in the top lane, went about half health down, and then 3 members of red came to kill him. He managed to get away, and even though Alpheus was unfortunate to stand on the edge of the shark and still get caught by the damage, and again just standing there and auto-attacking the fishes, and the best idea should maybe continue to peel back as he fights. But the Exile was able to escape from the 3-man gang top, come mid and clean up the kill. So that's how disgustingly far ahead he's getting on this 4-2-0 Yasuo. And I'm talking about 90 CS, 100 CS on some of the other characters. He's got 140 CS, so he's got 150% the CS of the next highest person in the game, which is probably the Vayne or the Ahri at this stage. So he's going to be a problem. If they're able to take him out in picks because of bad positioning, it may neutralize it somewhat, but Red have got to be concerned about it.
Well, I'm a little sad with Jude's performance this game. I mean, it's hard to say whether or not it's just the matchup, because we don't exactly see Shaco top lane too often, but not the powerhouse I was kind of hoping he would be. Is it the item choices or is it just Shaco?
I think it's down to the matchup in one way that it's very difficult for Shaco to lane against a Yasuo. In the mid lane, not quite getting the hook there, X-Fast, and we see that blue are finally starting to do a 1-4 split push, and they're stronger, but Drake is still on the board in almost 19 minutes into the game. Blue team with the advantage should be taking these, and it's only playing into Red's hand if they don't, because they're not as strong as they could be relative to them. But what blue team can
Alright, here we go. This is the chance for Jude to come back into the game. Exile getting taken. Rio, nice! Ripple! Triple knock up there. Jude manages to evade for long enough for Chris to get the kill though.
Yeah, Jude juked him with the clone, and he took the
No pun
bait.
intended.
Yeah, I know. And Chris also baited him somewhat. So Exile was like, "Which one do I kill? Which one do I kill?" And in the meantime, they killed him. So, but again, it took 3 people from Red Team top lane, and Dibs and Alpheus walked right past this Drake and said, "We'd prefer to have an inner turret. If they're able to take it, granted, but if they're not, then they wasted an opportunity to take a cross-map objective and even up a little bit that loss of pressure from the death of Exiled."
Well, I mean, we're still seeing a huge gold difference between these two teams. Is it maybe too... well... Oh, well, never mind. Gankus does unfortunately whiff the Chum the Waters, while Jude's getting beaten up by the Krugs and actually horribly murdered by them.
Yeah, and that's why the directed camera flipped up there, because he was on solo health. Oh, here's Pikachu getting caught out a little bit by Gumball, but X-Fast is there.
Oh, Gumball's so aggressive!
It's the Ignite.
Tempered Fate is going to hold him in place at the moment, but this may not have been the best idea. Charge goes through the magical journey, is followed, and Gumball saw is having to pay for his crimes. Here comes Gankus though, going one-on-one with Poppy. Not the strongest proposition. Oh my gosh, Gumball still gets it, and he's surely going to get the reset. Maybe he can get away. Gankus going in hard against Dibs, who's getting the damage cut, but Gankus does have enough to get through. Gumball is still trying to flee, and the blue team flashing across the hook does not connect. And we see a bug's life continue.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, Exile's like, "Lads, have you heard of objectives?" As they fight all 360 degrees around the dragon and leave it on the board. But yeah, some good outplays from Red. Actually, I thought Ahri was a bit greedy to go for the orb over the wall while she stalked the Kha'Zix. It was a good move to stalk him while the rest of the team closed on him, but she should have let X-Fast and the other guy put some CC down onto him and then do a full charm orb combo rather than giving away her position with an orb over the wall. Kha'Zix with a leap is like happy days. He jumps over and gets the kill, even though Did he go down in the end or did he get out? I think he might have got out, did he?
No, he did get out in the end.
Yeah.
He's 5 kills up. He's certainly quite a powerhouse for the red team.
Yeah. He is the shining light. I suppose him and Gankikus are Red's potential to win this because unfortunately Chris isn't having an impact 1-3-0. And will eventually become a powerhouse, but it'll be late, folks. It may be another 10 or 20 minutes before she's able to like one-on-one some of these scary guys. Dibs didn't do very well against Gankikus in that like banana bush there just by blue. But you know, shouldn't be taking magical journeys and getting split off from the rest of the team. Should continue to peel for the rest of the other carries. And then allow blue to take like comprehensive wins in fights instead of just winning a little bit and having a few people alive, winning and having the pressure in your carries to go and take a turret or a drake, you know.
Well, again, we saw the red team turning its attention a little bit towards the top lane, but with IM Exile proving incredibly slippery, as we might see the first dragon of the game
Looks like
actually, you know, for one started.
Looks like Blue's strategy was to push up all of the waves and then wait long enough for all of Red's wards to die and then take the Drake. But either way, they get it 22 minutes in. I mean, it's going to be a pretty late aspect if they go that way, but you never say no to the inherent the buffs that they get from it. So number 1 is on the road. Number 3 and 4 will be really strong for the movement speed. And here's a good catch.
Oh no! Gumblesaw! Gumblesaw!
Yeah.
He gumbles no more.
Well, actually, it was X-Fast that saw, and what he saw was a Kha'Zix with that ward.
Oh, very, very nice Tempered Fate. Gankikus is going to be diplomatized, though, right into a wall. And Pikachu is the one who secures the kill. Really nice play there, counteracting the Tempered Fate with the diplomacy.
Blue seeing that this Chris is down bot lane, split pushing, not really having even any turret pressure on the outer, which is still on a tremendous amount of HP. So, you know, once he wasn't there in the fight, it was a green light for Blue to engage in a 4v5 or 4v4 because of Exile Stalk in the top lane and get an advantage there and able to take an inner. Now they're up 5 turrets to 0. That's massive. That's 5,000 gold that red team have because, or blue team have, that red team could take from the map but haven't been able to do the pressure. And it all comes down to what we said about not really having the wave clear to be able to push the waves up. So even when they win a fight, they can't take objectives, you know? You have to win a fight and then go and wave clear until blue respawn. And when you get to the turrets, they're back there already. So it's a little bit sad.
Well, do you think maybe if we had maybe seen Zhu go for a attack damage based Shaco, I mean, I guess we might have seen something like a Tiamat to try and counteract those kind of problems. Oh, here we go! Gumblesaw going across the wall and walking right into a lot of damage. X-Fast manages to evade the Chum the Waters. Condemn is not available though today. X-Fast gets taken out and the orb isn't enough to keep him safe.
I think he did get condemned into the wall, which is why he spent so long pinned there. And yeah, Red do have the upfront burst damage that if they group and get picks like that, then they're very strong. X-Fast is not a frontline player really for these guys. He's not wave clear, so they're not overly concerned by his loss. They
Oh,
can
here
still
comes
fight.
Dibs! The diplomacy going down to Gumblesaw. Nice AoE damage across the jump across the wall. So Gumblesaw is presumably going to be safe for the moment.
Yeah.
But still, an absolutely terrifying Dibs in these fights. Smashes into Chris. But now the return aggression comes out. So little health. Chris gets the kill. Pikachu could be next on the menu. A double kill going across. This is exactly what Vayne needed. As the fight continues up in the top lane, Gankikus going one-on-one with Exile as his teammate exits. Shortly, here comes Gumblesaw though. They are swapping in and out here. All very low. Gumblesaw does get the kill though, and this is really bringing Red back into the game.
Chris, you have totally redeemed yourself in my eyes. You managed to flash the Ahri charm as it came in and get the kill through. Get a double kill, in fact, through. So really nice play there from Chris to use this Vayne, who's now got her Blade of Rune King, her Zeal, and her Zerkers. So yeah, really nice turnaround there. 3 kills for Red Team. Again, doesn't solve the core problem of them not having any wave clear, but it certainly does take the pressure off for a minute, as a blue team have to go back and lick their wounds. But don't forget that blue team are starving out the jungle, taking all the buffs and everything they get their greasy mitts on, and it means that red are getting poorer and poorer as time progresses, because don't they say that the rich get richer, right?
That's true. I mean, it's certainly a very smart move. given especially that the strongest player on the team is Gumblesaw, and he's a jungler, to try and make sure that jungle just isn't there for him to take.
Yeah, I was just hoping that Drew didn't die twice to the same Gromp in one match, you know. It would have been a little bit sad, but here Dibs is like...
Dibs is really aggressive to Gumblesaw, who doesn't realise perhaps that X-Fast is there, the hook doesn't connect, and Dibs is going to be crest on by his deployment-sized target. Here comes Alpheus. Chris so aggressive, and he's going to pay for it. Exhaust comes down, the shutdown goal goes across, and this is a really messy fight. Alpheus has got the spell shield, doesn't actually block anything, but it does keep aggression away. Tempered Fate does not connect with anything. X-Fast could be paying for the sins of his teammates though. The flash across the wall, but charge is there. The slows are really real. X-Fast being taken down really low. Actually pulls Gankus out of the way of that boomerang blade. Gumblesaw going in hard, and I don't think it's going to work out well for them at all. Nope, not in the slightest, as Exiled up in the top lane continues to apply pressure. Nice uses the wind wall to just push Dew out of being relevant, but the tower aggro gives him a few more seconds of life.
Okay, I have a couple of questions about that last engage, and the first one is...
Oh no, Drew's in trouble! Gets smashed really hard, gets him a minimal health, but there we go, the hero Chris comes in and makes everything better.
Yeah, of course, Exiled is able to get the inhibitor turret, and he's able to tie him up for long enough for them to take their second Drake. But why, Noxia diplomatic immunity, right, means that you only take damage from your targeted person, and you don't take damage from anybody else?
That's correct, and even crowd control effects.
Yeah, so why would you put it on a Vayne, for God's sakes? You know, she does a metric ton of damage with a Bork and a PD, you know, so it just seems strange. But anyway, some protracted fights going. Dibs is more than happy to jump on Gumblesaw, because if Dibs can eliminate this 6-3 Gumble from the fight, it makes this red team a lot weaker, because so much of their strength is tied up in that. And absolute, like, tip of the cap to Yark for the preemptive magical journey through the Baron pit as he saw that X-Fast was moving for a flash. X-Fast now without a flash ought to be a lot more careful in that, but some really intuitive, clever Bard play to make sure they're able to prosecute through for that kill. So red team managing to stay relevant, still having some core compositional problems, but really enjoyable game to watch. 18-16, one Drake advantage. I thought they got a second Drake, but my eyes, it's just spawned now. 6 turrets to 0, and almost, it's a 9k gold advantage right now, so blue team very much in the driving seat.
Well, red team definitely aren't really playing like a team that's massively far behind, even though, oh wow, see, if you goes against someone who's not exiled, it actually does quite a lot of damage. The dragon taken super low, the blue team do secure it, and now Gumblesaw right in the middle of trouble there, does not have a jump to get away. Temper Fate comes in, and it's going to keep Gumblesaw alive for a few seconds more. I don't think it's going to make too much difference though. Dibs is the one to take the kill, and Gankus does exchange while being exchanged himself. Magical Journey being followed by X-Fast, and unfortunately the binding was not able to catch Pikachu. This is really bad times for the red team. The Dragon Steel not going their way at all. Dew is still in this fight though. But up in the top lane, as is always, Exile smashing through, and the inhibitor going down for the second time.
It was a 4-on-5, and it was
wow.
It was a 4-on-5.
So close, the silence is there. There we go. We've got the mana shield coming out, much the same as the mana shield from a Blitzcrank. Dew trying to take things a little bit further, but good use of the bushes there to keep the aggression from being pursued further.
Exile says he's going to fight.
Gankus.
Oh,
Gankus getting taken super low. Exile absolutely deleting them. 2-on-1. Double kill going.
Come on, X-Fast, you can do it. He gets it.
No, X-Fast, the silence. And Exile's in the base, trying to take on almost the entire team by himself. No, really nice use of the Bard, binding there, holding Exiled in place, allowing Chris to get the kill.
Yeah, he got an inhibitor, he got a turret. The whole fight at Drake was 4v5, and Blue still took it. And this X-Fast on this Blitz has been prolific. He is MVP, hands down, and there have been some really good players on this side, on both sides. As you said, Bard, again, really impressive, but X-Fast managing to finally get the Blitz ultimate there and take out this Dew who's just had absolutely horrendous game on 255. And we were saying earlier about what could he have done in the lane. Oh,
wow.
Yeah, the troll is real, folks.
As I never even know how to say this guy's name. Demaisi? As he pointed out in the chat, and I was just thinking this myself, the in answer to your previous question, it's not only the immunity to crowd control and damage to everyone else, it's also a damage boost on the diploma-sized target. So
Yeah,
that's presumably what Dips is going for.
you've got to be really careful with the Dibs fan base too as well because they're quite passionate. And I mean, he knows the champion a lot better than I do. So, but again, though, in that close enclosure, it was only the very fed Gumblesaur or the kind of
Oh,
weak.
Exile has been stalled again by a nice binding,
Yeah.
but the red team's still really leery
never
of
seen
Exile.
a
He gets
man-
bound again.
Never seen a man get
Okay,
as
this
excited by a
time
binding
Chris
as you.
Chris is going for it. They've managed to get the windfall out. 4 members of Tempered Fate, perhaps not the best aimed one, but Chris does get the kill again, pushing her up to 7 kills.
Yeah, yeah. So Exiled, what's left to take there, mate? Are you just gonna knock down the Nexus, the Nexus turret without anybody noticing? I think potentially he could have swapped the bot lane, start pushing Ju in again, while the rest of Blue maintain this mid lane push. And as soon as Red Team commit 3 or 4 resources to kill the Exile, the Blue should be all over a turret, And it's about the team working together to have the waves in a position to
Oh,
punish.
Pikachu has been caught, and
Yeah.
Chris has got the vision, the nice double stun! Oh, Pikachu does drop the Zonias, but surely, no, really nice use of the Spirit Rush to actually get away from what seemed like an almost certain death.
Yeah, Director Cam, you got some answers to who, but she's out of Spirit Rush now, right? She does get the orb down,
Oh,
does
the
get charm.
Pikachu, the Ignite is there, the jump, Pikachu's Gumblesaur takes the kill.
Yeah, very nice. She turned back. I'm not sure. She could have maybe taken a more optimal path out, but when her Spirit Rush was down, and they're burning it straight down, they're burning it down with the Blade of the Rune King, and with all of this damage on this Kha'Zix with the Warrior and the Hydra, and there it goes. So huge advantage swing back into favor, still down in gold. Ooh, X-Fast, gotta be careful, man. You can't.
I think X-Fast may be feeling good right now, but actually does get the kill. Condemn pushing X-Fast out of position, and here's Exiled Flatus. We're seeing a panicking red team here.
Yeah.
As Exiled, a thing out of nightmares, pursues Chris through the jungle. There's nowhere for Chris to go, surely. And oh, the Blade of the Rune King there, just to get Exiled a little bit more speed. Condemn is there, but the... It's this. Nowhere for Chris to go. Exile takes the 10th kill of the game.
I should have known it. Sure, isn't he made out of steel? But X-Fast has balls of steel, folks. He's willing to jump in there in the middle of 3 late game carries, get a pick onto a Fizz, and then chase a Vi down. So the advantage that Red had taken from that sneaky Baron is kind of diminished now. Especially Ju not going to be able to do much to deflect here. So they're going to lose another inhibitor for it. Most of the people with Baron buff are dead. I think it's only Bard.
Oh, here we go. Exile could potentially be counter-aggressed onto. Nice. The Ignite was taken away.
Yeah, he's
Tempered
dead.
Fate has going to hold him in place, though. Surely. No! Dibs takes the kill.
Yeah.
That's cheeky Dibs at it again. And it's a blue team who are pounding into this base. That's the word of the day, pounding. It's definitely a good word to
And
use.
it was Dibs' dash that pulled Fizz Gankakus out of his dash, which was a beautiful move. The Urchin Strike pulled it right out of it.
Catches charge. It does pay for it though. This could potentially delay the end of the game a little bit more. Gumblesaur getting into a good position to try and catch Pikachu. Good use of the windwall there. But Vayne is hard to deny. No, the charm, the magical journey is there. The last bit of damage from Charge. Alpheus could be in trouble as well. Here comes Chris going after Exile. Now we're seeing the shoe is on the other foot. The Poppy's hammer may be in the other face though. Dibs coming in, even on low health. The stun is real. Jar takes another kill. That's a 3-kill Bard in this game. 14 assists. I guess maybe Jar has earned it.
Dibs was just paralyzed by choice. So many low health late game carries. Which one do I kill? Hesitates and then gets stunned into the wall. So, but even so, yeah, still 2 exposed inhibitors. 1 inhibitor down at the moment. Baron's off the table. And there are 2 Drakes in the hole, so even though Red Team are able to claw back a lot of the advantage, close out the gold gap, close out the third gap by taking their first third of the game at 35 minutes, but still a big hill to climb. Looks like they will get this compensation Drake, and that'll take it off the board, so definitely no aspect for Blue Team, but they probably weren't going that way anyway. And Blue Team just need to be a lot more careful. Maybe do a 4-1 split push, and grab that second open inhibitor and then push the third one probably and close it out, because not quite confident enough to take Red on in a straight up 5v5 in their base where they can just go back to Fountain with home guards and come out and kill you again. So Blue need to be calculated in how they choose to close out the rest of this game.
All right. Well, I mean, as you said before this game even started, the blue team's wave clear pretty terrifying. But still, I'm holding out hope for my boys, the red team, boys and girls, I suppose. Girl, is part of
Don't
dude. I
don't
don't
go
know.
there, man. Don't go there. Just like
Yes, yes.
they're all people.
They're all people to me. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Zhu going really, really low. The thing is, like, Zhu is doing masses of damage, and here comes Exile getting absolutely destroyed. X-Force comes in to provide the assistance, condemn into the wall, and Zhu manages to get out of this one alive. Alpheus is going to be taken super, super low. Chris gets the kill, and Gumblestorm gets away with it.
Yeah, what Blue absolutely do not need to do is feed one-on-one into these fights in the top lane. We're rather close to their base and they're all grouped. Dibs was pushing bot lane, Ari was sparring in the mid lane, down by blue buff. So, just really, you're 35 minutes into the game and you have an advantage. So why are you splitting up and allowing the enemy team who's behind to get picks on you, take fights favorable to them? It's just delaying the game, as you said. I think the game could have been over already, and if Blue choose to end it at any stage, they have the potential to do that. But the longer they wait, the harder it gets.
Hmm. I mean, we're starting. I think the plays we're seeing from Red Team, I don't know, is it more about Blue Team just getting a little sloppy considering that they're so far ahead? Or is it something in particular the Red Team's doing?
Yeah, definitely. There's these little things you can buy to put down called wards, and they tell you where the enemy are. And we're seeing very
Well,
scant
Exile
little.
certainly knows where the enemy is right now, as he's being pursued by 4 members of the Red Team. Exile is so much trouble, the slows from Bard are so hard to deny. Exile is going to get taken out by Chris, and that's the 10th kill of the game for Chris, matching Exile's 10 kills.
Yeah, how many times is he going to go back up into that top lane and die to 4 red members because he doesn't have any vision and there's no map pressure elsewhere? Like, if the rest of blue team were knocking on the bottom lane turret, you can do that kind of stuff. But right now, red are free to roam and clear farm and engage you in favorable fights. And if he does it enough times, all the disadvantage they built up will be completely gone because now the goal lead is down from almost 10k to 5k. And we're at a point where it means less and less. Bane's got like 3 damage items, Zerker's Greaves, and she's now got a completed Guardian Angel. She arguably does more damage than this Alpheus, who was ahead all a game, but is still sitting on 3.5 items here. He's going for a Bloodthirster, but it's really late. Fizz is almost completed his Zhonya's, which is going to make him a lot stronger in the fights. He can take a lot more focus. Finally getting some tank coming through onto Gum. He looks like he's probably building into a Randuin's at this stage. And yeah, Jew, even though he was like horribly destroyed early, has still got it's the Flame Horizon because he's essentially twice his CS at 40 minutes, which is
Oh, here we go. Dibs is going to aggress. Not all this Shack in the Box saves them from what could have been a complete, could have been a wipe on 2 of their team members.
Yeah, a nice shackle box there to CC, but that's a kind of a one-trick pony as well. So there's a really short cooldown on the talisman. It's already about 2/3 finished, so they'll be able to try that again. If he gets this hook anywhere here, could be GG if Blue get a hook and shut it down. Exile is in the top lane again now. It's a little bit different. There is more pressure because all of blue are there. Gumblesaur is like, I'd love to kill this Dibs, but I don't think I can do it. Exile's in the top lane. He's pulled Jew right now. Watch. It's only Jew so far, so it's 4-on-4, 3-on-4 in the mid because I don't know what this Ahri is doing. Farming Raptors 40 minutes into the game when your team is sieging the enemy base takes all of the pressure off. So Exile has to back up. Blue have to reposition. What are you farming Raptors for when you're sitting on Luden's Echo, Azania's and Rabadon's? What could you possibly need to buy that's more important than being here for the next team fight? And again, she's going to split push mid, so it's...
Oh, there we go. Gankus does get caught. Has to play for Trickster away.
There's no damage
And
there.
X-Force is being aggressed on.
Yeah, because there's no damage there.
The exhaust comes out onto Gankus. The really badly missed Chum the Waters, but Alpheus is getting taken very low by Gumblesore as well. 2 members of the blue team being pushed away, and this isn't quite the offense that I was really expecting out of the blue team. Windwall comes out. Here comes Dibs. Alright, the diplomatic immunity has come down, and so Dibs is free to choose to aggress on whoever they want. Exalt actually gets absolutely nailed. And it's the blue team who are now looking pretty shaky. Tempered Fate does catch Alpheus, who
Big
gets
mistake.
pushed and taken out by Zhu. This is the red team ascendant again, as the blue team are on the back foot.
And Ari was farming in the bot lane while all was this going on. Even as Alpheus died, she was only at the blue buff, so completely late to this fight. And it doesn't matter if you're miles ahead, if you're fighting 4-on-5s in the enemy's base and your mid lane carry mage is off farming raptors or side lanes, then it means you're weaker. So blue are like dilly-dallying and they're bleeding away all of the advantage that they built up is being bled away, and now red team are right back in here with all of the momentum to try and take it back. But again, one bad fight for red, they could be in trouble.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? When you're behind, you've got to do everything, if not perfectly, but at least better than the opposing team every time.
Yeah, absolutely. As good or better than if you want to have any chance of winning. Presumably a lot better than if you can. Drake's back up on the board. The third Drake for blue could be good. But it actually looks like red potentially have the advantage. Maybe blue will trade off Baron. There's actually really poor vision there. I think Vayne suspects she's walking through a blue ward. Shaco's also coming in. There's good lane pressure down the bot lane. Bard and Fizz are still too far away to maybe have an impact on this. If red are able to actually, or blue are able to put any damage, like their 280 carries on down onto this, then potentially they can do it. Now red are here. Now Gumble's here with a smite. He gets the smite! He gets the steal!
Oh, amazingly done! Absolutely amazing. Now can Gumblesaw get away is the question. No, he cannot. And the fight continues. Chris is pushed out of the other side of the fight. This is exactly what they didn't want to have happen, which is have the Guardian Angel go off in the middle of the opposing team. X-Fast is taken very, very low. Chris is still in this fight, though, which is quite surprising. Dibs gets taken out. Oh my god, this is going atrociously. Alpheus gets taken out as well. Yeah. Pikachu being pursued by the Bard. And really nice, the red team are ready and willing to receive the quadra kill. Amazingly done by the red team.
They got like a beautiful pixel onto 2 carries and then scattered to the 4 wins. They greeted on the Guardian Angel kill on Bane and didn't get it. They greeted on the Fizz and he Zonya'd and they didn't get it. Really well played by red. Really well played. And that's what we're talking about, you know. It doesn't matter how far ahead or behind you are at 43 minutes with like a minute death timer. If your team gets wiped out at a Baron, that was 50-50 when it didn't need to be, and then you get aced, you're going to lose inhibitor structures, and now the game is anybody's to take. I don't think red have enough momentum to end the game. Yasuo's up in 5, and the rest of them are up in 10 to 15 seconds. I think they should take this and leave, and they do. They can now get a Drake for free if they want it, but they've completely opened up this game, because now if blue make a mistake and they die, red already have a path to take the game home inside of the death timers. So huge misplay there. And I think the positional errors in the carries is what's doing it. And it just seems more will to like dive and go all in from red. It's like desperation. If you back an animal into the corner, they fight even harder. And it feels like that's what's happening now from red.
Ooh, I don't know if I agree with Ajaj taking that magical journey towards the dragon. But it doesn't look like even so. Presumably the blue team must be aware that the dragon is being threatened at this point. And it gets taken down, and yet there's no movement speed increase for the blue team.
Yeah. Now, I will say that Guardian Angel is down for Vayne, and Zonya'd is back up for Fizz, but with the GA down, it makes Vayne kind of considerably weaker now. She won't be able to survive through another fight like that. Notice when she did die, red beautifully, as 4 moved up and surrounded her body, so it forced blue to change their focus, and they couldn't just pick her off. And I believe she may have flashed out even... no, maybe not. But she did manage to get back out of there. So it's great team play by red that is keeping in it, even though they've had a huge advantage. And look at it now. The gold is down to less than 1,000 when they were up 9k behind. They've completely clawed back into this. They have Baron. They have 5 members pushing down into mid lane and all the pressure in the world. Meanwhile, 2
No, they're in the lead.
Yeah. Well, it's the comeback,
that's amazing.
Right? They've got to be careful. They can't overcommit, but they do have great pressure here. As we saw, like Blitz and Yasuo out in bot lane, as soon as they were seen, it was like, okay, we'll just take another turret. Thank you very much. Blue not doing much to respond to red's pressure at the moment, and it's a little bit disappointing to see him have the lead like that and not be able to like prosecute it into a win. They had 2 inhibitors down. I mean, it was theirs to take, and they may still win it. But I think the wave clear problems of red have been overcome now because of their champions' innate damages and itemization. So now it's a very much an even game, and I actually honestly prefer the Fizz and the Vayne late game, because they just do such like disgusting upfront damage. And even this Jew now, like he was so far behind, and now he's got 200 CS and 7 kills, and you know he's sitting at 5.5 items, so he's not irrelevant anymore. And as you saw, against Exiled in the last couple of picks. He was able to do good damage up there.
All
Not,
right, here we go. Chu could be getting caught ahead. No, manages to evade the
yeah,
hook.
not
And
quite
this
Mad
could
Life
well
yet.
be the last fight of the game.
Yeah, it could be. And it's all down to the positioning here and the picks, the flanks. If they're able to get onto Alpheus, if they're able to get onto Pikachu and take them out. Oh, that only hits Pikachu.
Well, Tempered Fate comes in, locks Pikachu in place. If it's the fight not fully ready to break out, the red team have managed to retrieve themselves from the various different parts of the map as their minions push in bottom lane. But it's a standoff. The hook does not connect, and that would have been so good for them if that could have done. The red team actually starting to potentially pursue them a bit further out the base, but I don't know. Without the Tempered Fate, they lose a lot of their potential to catch someone out here, I feel.
Yeah, it does have a relatively short
Oh, the
cooldown.
teleport's coming into the bottom lane. Shu is going to go down there and try and get the turrets down, followed by
He's got
I Am
one.
Exiled. But that is going to be a Nexus turret going, and we do trade a clown for that Nexus turret. Was it worth it, though?
Hashtag not worth no 70-second death timer. And this was a shutdown as well. Not that it really matters, but it does mean that it's 4-on-5 now. And even though they've got that pressure in the top lane, there's 2 open inhibitors. And if they run quickly, they may be able to grab the 2 of those and then rotate somebody back in time to save their Nexus. Meanwhile, that's the TP down, right? So no potential. If Dew had waited until Red were able to engage some sort of skirmish and just get like close enough to prevent backs and then do that sort of thing, it could have been really effective. But here's a free inhibitor because of it.
Yeah, the red team a little bit out of position there. Not able to really contest it in any serious fashion.
Blue cannot hesitate. They have to absolutely take out this inhibitor and then go back and save the base. They have to do it in a way that means no one gets picked off.
Tempered Fate comes in, does catch 2 members. Are they going to follow up further? X-Fast gets a little bit chipped. Genki is getting slammed into the corner.
He's out of the fight.
Lotus Zong is a little bit late.
That's GG.
Unfortunately, Chris has had the Guardian Angel procs in the middle of enemy territory as does get taken out, and this is surely going to be the game for the blue team, who have managed to take what could have been a complete disaster of a turnaround for them. Magical Journey across the Nexus. Pikachu doesn't manage to get the kill quite yet. Shu get taken very, very low, as well as Pikachu. I just don't know if Shu's be able to do that much in this game. Dibs survives the end of the world.
So let's take a look, right? 12, 12, 14 Exiles, so very strong early, got leveled out. On the flip side, we have a Vayne who was like 0-3 and she comes back 11-7. So I think Blue might have styled it a little bit. They had a really good advantage in the mid game and styled it a little bit and let it slip. Red came back and made a really good stab of it, and you had got to give props to them. Like one team fight either way there, and they could have taken the game. But overall, Blue just able to shut out. And I think the early problems with Red's composition really hurt them. Like the wave clear, like I said, and those other problems with no engage, no reliable peel really meant that they were at such a disadvantage when they got to the late game that they weren't able to carry it home. But a really enjoyable game to watch from both sides. If I had an MVP, I'd probably still say this Blitzcrank X-Fast, because his blitz pulls made the early game go in favor of Blue Team very much, and they were able to snowball that a bit and eventually win it.
Yes, I do agree. I mean, putting aside the sort of latter half of the game, which was the most amazing turnaround. If we were to assume that Blue Team did what they needed to do to close out the game, certainly X-Fast was the biggest part of that to start with. I mean, as the game went on, in the latter half, for the red team, who was important in their almost comeback?
Chris turned it around a lot. I mean, I was criticizing him heavily at the start of the game, and he was having a flippin' horrible game on Vayne. But he managed to turn around. I think this Bard did like a lot of work. Maybe the unsung hero on the other side. 3-3-22 is nothing to be sniffed at, in a team that fed 35 kills. He was only 3 of them. So he did real work, and I think Chris did good work. And Gankikus, like we said, even when the rest of his lanes were kind of behind and getting pushed in and feeding and whatnot, he always ahead, had a bit of a kill advantage on Pikachu, and I felt had the one-on-one heads up all the way through. Gankikus was really strong early, but I think Dibs was a bit of a late bloomer on that Poppy, just because of the natural scaling of the champion. They needed to be... He needed to finish off the game earlier, I suppose, but it never had the potential for Red to do it because it just snowballed so early, right?
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, that's been some very, very exciting games which we've been watching. Some of the best we've seen for quite some time.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be us for this evening. And that will conclude, yes, another League of Legends UK custom game. It's been an absolute pleasure to cast. I've been Peter Wesker Biscuit Hartnell, and beside me now is the now legendary Irish Pete Johnstone.
Thank
Uh,
you.
so we'll be seeing you guys soon, and have a great evening.